Alright, it took some time. Got everything off of our table here that we're not going to use. Kept everything off the new one, or the newer one. And put everything in a box, and then I'll take it back over and put it back in the old shop. That way we have it in case we get another one in and we can use some parts off of it. There's still a few good parts left on it. Alright, now we need to, let that dry. Should be a little bit of grease on that. We need to work on our recoil, because this one is a little bit different than the one out of the old, or out of that old unit. So we'll use this one. So that means we need to first get some rope on it. That's the pileated woodpecker laughing. Okay, I have it wound on there backwards for right now. It doesn't matter. We want to make sure we have enough to go through the unit and the handle, and still have enough on our recoil. I use good scissors. We can always take some off once we have it on the, you can always tell. See how these little knobs are pointing that way. When you pull on your recoil, you want those to go forward so they grab and start. Grab the flywheel. Grab the flywheel on these. That's how it actually starts. You can see it pulls, and that's how it'll start. So that's how you want to wrap your rope. So when you pull on it, it'll engage those little dogs. Okay, now let me get rid of that. There's a little eyelet we need. Let me see where I put it. Eyelet, where'd you go? Let's see our little eyelet. Alright, let me see. Let me see if I can find our eyelet. There it is. Need that. Gotta remember to put that on before you put your starter handle on. And we're not gonna put this on tight because we are going to be adjusting the length. Come on. So we'll just put a kind of a loose knot. Now I want to see if I can get this spring out of there so I can check it, make sure it's not broke. If we can. See if I can loosen up some of the rust around it. There, she's walking up out of there. A little rusty. But I don't think she's broke. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little Earl on our spring, and I need to clean this all up before we put it back together. Okay, we'll take our spring. These, even when you put a new one in, there's oil on them. What this does is it just helps the spring slide along itself. And it'll work down in there. I don't think that spring's broke. It goes down, that little tab goes right in there, like so. Now what we're going to do, let's get my nasty old Quaker State, and I'm just going to put a little on there to help the starter move a little bit better. Maybe it won't wear it out quite as bad. Nasty looking stuff, isn't it? Still good though. Okay. Now there's this notch right there is how it catches the spring. Put that right down on there, like so. Okay, to tighten it up. I'm not sure which end this has to come out. Once we'll get her figured out here in a minute. Let the truck go by. Now there's a notch. Most of these starters have a notch on them. and you just stick your rope in it and wind it up. I think we could do one more. There we go. It's pretty tight. Now our recoil is ready to go on. Flywheel is good. Let's see, we need sleeve, one heavy one. Nope, not yet. Gonna put our heavy one down first. Then there's a thinner one. Coil. Whoop. Leave them a little loose, that way we can, let's see, piece of sand, that's a little, always forgetting something, got to keep running back and forth. Alright, normally what I do to set the coil on the flywheel, this one's kind of a little weird because you're not tightening down the flywheel. So that flywheel can move. And I just take a piece of my spark plug, and of course I cut the one off that has the double. Okay, let's see, let's put him on. That way he's flywheel's tightened down. Find your magnet spot, which is right there. And all we're going to do is we're going to stick our little piece of cardboard right down in there. Slide that around, let it suck itself right to the coil. Let the coil suck right to the flywheel. And here we go. Perfect. Okay, now Okay, is that the round one? Does the round one go in there, or is it the... No, it's this guy. A little rope here, can work on that. Alright, we'll put it on now. After. Oh, shit, screws kind of loose. No, it's only going one way. Not that way. Not that way. Like that. Now I gotta figure out where we need our rope to come out at. Easiest way to tell. Set her up there a little bit, and you can see we have to, our rope has to come out right there. We want it to come out the back side. Plastic, so long enough. Of course, screws going down into the plastic. For those. Let me find those. That's pretty tall. The drive goes on. We need our fan. Our blower. Our debris grinder. See, that goes down. And then our debris grinder, and then our canut. We'll call it a mulcher. Let's see, what size is that? That's 1/2 inch. Yeah. Now where's my little, there's my stubby ratchet. Cool. I don't think we could do a compression test with it sitting there. Let's try it. Let me go get my compression tester. Let's see if we can do a compression test with it. Alright, I had to buy a new compression tester because I loaned mine out and it never came back. Imagine that, huh? Okay, I don't think you can see that, can you? Let me zoom you in a little bit. Now, let's see if I can pin this down enough. 95, 93 to 95. That's okay. I mean, for a little two-strike, you have to remember too, there's no oil. I didn't oil the cylinder, so we're about 93, 95. That'll come up. That's a different piston and a different jug. I didn't, you know, those aren't mated. So we're going to have to get it running, and it'll seat in a little bit better, and that number should come up on it. But I'm happy with it. Okay, now I'm going to have to take some time and clean up the housings before we set them down in. You can see that there was definitely something going on. That shaft may have already have been bent. So maybe it is a good thing that we did change that I screwed up and we ended up changing the crank in it. I'll get this stuff cleaned up and then we'll be ready for final assembly. Alright, while that case is drying, we'll deal with the gas tank. I got it cleaned up. And yes, that's the pileated woodpecker screaming up there. Okay, the big one's usually always your filter. See, that's nice. That's what's left of the little one. That little nipple, I never used them on the tanks. Okay, anyway. This is from aftermarket company called HIPA, H-I-P-A. I'll put a link in the description. They have all kind of carburetors, and this is, like I was saying earlier in the first part, is I want to try one of these out and see how good they are. It does have a number on it, but it's not stamped Zama. It's our choke and our throttle. Okay, but we don't want that right now. We're not ready for a carburetor. I bought the whole kit. It comes with your fuel lines, air filter, new Sparkadoodle plug, fuel filter, 2 extra purge bulbs, and a couple of gaskets, depending on which one you need, with the pulse hole next to the screw or pulse hole at the bottom. And I don't think either one of those are going to work for us. I think ours is totally different, or it's a... yeah, ours is just a O-ring. But I guess if you needed to... yeah, if you needed to, you could use that gasket if your O-ring is bad, because your pulse hole lines up. But for the moment, we just want the fuel line. Two sizes on these. Oop, we don't need the air filter either. Put that away too. Two sizes of fuel lines on these. You have the big one, which is for your fuel filter, and the little one is for your purge bulb. Now, easiest way to put these in the tank, since you have to push it through that little hole, is to not push it all. what I do is I have some thin wire here. This might be just a little bit too, throw it on the ground, a little bit too heavy, but you'll get the idea. Cut a hunk of that off. Now what I do on my fuel line is I just take the end, hope you can see this, and cut it on an angle, like so. And then you can push your wire through that little flap. Come on. There we go. Fold it over. Twist it a little. Put your wire through the hole. And get her started and pull her through. Simple, easy peasy. And we want our, that one gets the fuel filter. It's a Guten tight. There we go, and then you want to put your filter down in and make sure it's going to lay in the bottom, which it is. So it'll pick up all the fuel all the way down. Let's see, this one, it's just a little bit more. This one will be like so when it's running. So we want it to just lay right down on there. And we'll do the same thing with our little one. Cut a nice angle. Well, you'll see me do that a lot. I drop a lot of stuff. And this one, won't need to be as far in the tank. And that's what that little, where'd that little nipple go? All this one is for is to return fuel back from the carburetor to the tank. And what they did on this one, instead of just leaving the the hose stick out is you pull that back through until that little nipple hits right on the inside of the tank. And that's it. Now our tank's ready. Now all we need is our casing. I don't know if that case is dried out enough or not. Okay. I cleaned it up. I mean, this one's, it's not going to look gorgeous. It's just going to be what it is. It'll be a good leaf blower. This is where our starter rope rides on here. And now what I need to do is clean this one up. And if it doesn't clean up, I'll steal it out of the other one, because I noticed on the other one it was a lot cleaner and shinier. You want to get the heavy stuff off of this because, like I said, your starter rope rides on it, and if it's really rough, you know, all it's going to do is start fraying your starter rope, and you don't want that. So if you have to go through all this to put a starter rope in it, you really don't want to have to do it too many times. There we go. Put that back in there. Let's see, what do we need? Need our isolation. Bumpers. Okay, now we're ready for our gas tank. I pulled all those little mounting rubbers out of the other housing, out of our crap, our donor blower. And what that does is they slide right down into here. And that's what keeps it isolated and mounted, you know, so you don't have all the vibration and you crack a tank. And it looks like it's going to rain. I got one piece missing I have to go find. Oops. God, you can't see what I'm doing anyway, can you? Let me get you spun around. Not you, but this. That way you can see where the hell we're working. I'm going to back you up a little bit. There we are. There's a isolation foam that goes around your fuel lines so they don't chafe on the housing. There, we'll get our fuel lines started down the hole. Water go down the hole. Oh, I'm gonna try little pliers. Okay, sure he's where he belongs. Now, what do you want to do? Get the other half of the cover and put our gas tank isolators in. That's for our trap door on the bottom. Take it down there. And no, I have not forgotten about the bottom door. I'll show you here in a minute. Gas cap on there. These trap door on the back to be a real pain. That's why it wasn't put on right to begin with. And the spring wasn't even doing anything, so that's why I'm just going to put all those in snug. Not snug, but loose. And our door goes in here. This spring has to be wound and hooked on here. See if I left enough. Yeah. You can always tell somebody's got them. This spring is always never go back on. Like I said, it's a pain to get it from the bottom here. There does spring. Much better. Okay, I'll get the housing all screwed back together. And we'll be ready to start putting our muffler and carburetor, our new carburetor now on it. Okay, now we can see if we can get our handle in. Okay, now it's just going to be a whole lot of this. Okay, now I will get all of our housing screws in. That's about all we need to do here. So I'll work on that and get that done. So it's just a whole lot of... All right, now our muffler. Now what we need to do is check the aspirator screen or spark arrestor screen, whatever you want to call it. There's a little screen in here most of the time, unless somebody's already taken it out. Yep. There's usually a screen that lays right over here. Here's where your exhaust comes through your muffler, and it goes through that screen and then out those little holes. And what that's for is when you're running it, that you do not have sparks flying out of your muffler and into dry grass and starting a fire. Hence, spark arrestor. I always call them an aspirator screen, but it's a spark arrestor is what it is. Okay, let's see. There is no shutoff on this. That's what's weird. This is our original carburetor. And here is our new one. Difference are the outlets. We need our... Okay, sorry about that earlier, you couldn't see. Okay, found the right... Oops, wrong one again. I need to throw that in the box. Where'd I put it? Left it over on the sink. There's the right cover. Okay. So what we need to do is get this guy lined up. Top one by your purge valve is always the small one. That one will go on. There, this one. This is our actual fuel line. Housing. I remember the first one of these I tore apart and worked on. Am I putting it on right? Looks good. I must have taken that thing apart 5 or 6 times. Always forgetting to do something. You know, forgetting to put this on, forgetting to put that on. They can be a real pain. I haven't done a whole bunch of them, but you know, I've done my fair share of these. And as I'm working on this one, I start remembering more and more. And I'm still puzzled about the shutoff. There's no switch. There was no wire on the coil coming off for the shutoff. The only thing I can think of is you choke it out. Okay. New plug. Not going to put it in tight just yet. We need to, and I'm not going to shorten my rope up and quite yet either. I want to see if it runs first before. Before we get too antsy on getting everything buttoned up. Let's make sure it's going to run first before we do anything. Filled up. Now we need to see if it's going to run. Let's see, choke. Let's choke it. It's not getting anything yet. It doesn't look like it's all the way on. Okay, got all the way up as fast. I'm sure all the air's out of it now. Let's try it again. It also smells like it was firing. Like it did pick up something. Make sure all the air's out of it. Yep. Choke's all the way closed. Run fast. Let's got gas on it now. It's firing. We just need to get that initial fire up so everything will seat. Okay, folks, unfortunately, this one will not run. It fires. I can smell some exhaust, and the compression is really low on it now. It's just, there's not enough. So I went and checked the flywheel off the old one, sitting right up there in that box. Has a different part number than the one that goes on this. So I'm willing to bet, even if we tore it all apart and used the coil out of the other one, we still don't have enough compression for it to run proper. Sometimes it would fire and kick back, and I knew right away that the timing was off on it, and I could smell, like I said, I could smell it burning some exhaust out of it. So I know it was firing. It just not enough there. Flywheel is like $23 for this, and new piston and rings is $33. So we would have another $56 in this. And is this thing worth it to resell? No. You're really lucky if you can get 50 bucks out of these on a good day with them running. That's why I was trying to do everything as cheap as possible. That's why we tore down the other one and try using everything out of it. Crankshafts were the same. That was one of the first things I did check. The part number is the same for the crankshaft for this one and the other one. So I I screwed up, but I didn't screw up that bad because we had another one. Gonna have to kind of bear with me here for a little bit until I start remembering everything on these. And if you look at the tag on this, see what it says right there? Durability period 50 hours. So that's the life expectancy of these is 50 hours. So if you're using it quite regularly, you know, most homeowners are lucky if they use it an hour a week. So that gives you 50 weeks worth of runtime on this. Maybe a little bit more. They may run it a little bit more in the fall for leaf cleanup and all that, but mainly it's for getting rid of grass, you know, and that on your sidewalks and stuff like that. These are not a high-end piece of equipment. Again, that's why I was trying to get out of buying anything for this. I just wanted to get two of them put together. Take the two and put one together. I bought the carburetor new because I wanted to try out one of these aftermarket carburetors. Well, we didn't get the chance. You know, everything seems to be okay on it, but then again, we don't know for sure. Now, we may revisit this again because I do not have a gas leaf blower. I have an electric. And I'll have to actually really think about if I want to put $56 in this and for a leaf blower for myself. So obviously this one is kaput. But hey, at least now we know why the cord was cut. The cord was cut because it was low on compression. Even though we used the piston out of the other one, piston and ring, that one was just as bad as this one. So really what should be done is it should have a new cylinder, piston and rings. And the flywheel was already stripped out when we got it. So we had to use that one off the other one. So that's a kind of a wah, wah, wah. But like I said, we may revisit this because I don't have a gas leaf blower. I have an electric. And there's times I wouldn't mind having a gas leaf blower. Instead of... Yes, I'm outside. Instead of stretching my 100-200 foot cord to go up my driveway, and you can see, I'll show you where the beginning of my driveway is, right where the car, that's the beginning of my driveway, and I can only get to, you know, about halfway up my blacktop here, and it would be kind of nice to, you know, walk up there and kind of clean that up too. But with the electric, I can't, unless I run 200 foot of extension cord, and that's not good on a little electric leaf blower either, because you lose too much over that distance and you have a tendency to burn them up. So I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you, even though we had a failure. But hey, I got plenty more stuff to put up on the bench here and work on, so we'll have good luck with the next one. We'll cross our fingers. Maybe we'll have good luck with the next one. So I hope to see you on the next one. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen. Bonus! Next one up on the table. And before anybody says anything, there was no way to run a compression check on this until after we had it tore down and fixed the recoil in it. So this is what happens, you know, when you get them without the recoil. These ones you have to tear completely apart, you seen, to get to fix the recoil in it. We did have the little motor sitting there. We run a compression on it, and it was running like about, right, what the hell was it, around 90? around 90 pounds, and that should run at 90. So I think even if we change the flywheel, put the right flywheel on it, it may run, but it's not going to be long for this world. And I'm not going to sell it the way it is by just putting a flywheel on it. So what we have is we have $10 in the unit itself, buying it at the auction, and $15.40 for the carb kit. The brand new carb, hose, you know, fuel line, filter, air filter, fuel filter, and that. So we have about $25.40 in it. But this carburetor also works on the little weed eater brands too. So it's not like we're going to be out on that carburetor. We have a brand new carburetor we can use on something else, and we have more fuel line, and I have fuel filters. So that's no big deal either. So actually all I'm out is 10 bucks. And my time, of course, but you know, I don't mind working on these. Even though you have to tear them down like that, I still like them. Just something I enjoy doing. Always have, and I kind of got away from it doing my arcade machines and pinball machines and stuff like that for the arcade. And now that that's kind of winding down, and I think I'm getting ready to open here shortly, I can start getting back onto my little small engines and start buying some more stuff and posting it on this channel. And if you haven't checked out my other channel, it's Retro Gaming with Hopper. Take a look at it if you like to see me working on electronics, stereo equipment, pinball machines, arcade machines, change machines. There's one in there, kind of buried over in there. If you like seeing that type of stuff, check out that channel, and you can catch me over there.